Hey everybody. So today I'm going to try to max out the HM126 sawmill. This sawmill, one of the reasons it's called 126 is it has a 26-inch diameter capacity. And I've got this red oak that on the butt end is 25 inches, but it's a little egg shaped, by 23 inches. It's just over 8 feet long, and on this end it's 24 that way and 24 that way, so about 2 foot there. It's got this big split in it. Hopefully that won't affect a whole lot. It's one of the reasons we cut them a little bit long, and we'll be able to use it. So join along as we max out the 126. Okay, so as the fall got here, it's always the busy time of year, which I knew, but it's been a couple weeks since I've run any timber. One of the additions I made is that's a perfect fly swatter hanger, and for some reason the horse flies and now the bees are starting to hang around the mill quite a bit. I guess they like the sawdust. Can't blame them there. So that's one difference that I've done, or one improvement. Another change in my the way I work this thing is, after I'm done milling, I now take a air compressor and blow off all the rails, get all that sawdust off the metal. See, we're starting to get some, you see it, so a little bit of surface rust. That's probably from the rain, but there's some discoloration there also from the sawdust. So then my next improvement is, sometimes with one log catch, I found that the log, it still wobbles around. Once wobbled around, a little harder to secure than I thought it should be. And I thought a second log dog would help that. So I just got this in the mail yesterday. I'm gonna put it on and see how it works. Okay, so I'm gonna add a log dog to this today. Pretty simple, and if you've got a mill, you've already put one on. Okay, so second log dog in place. The other item that I took care of, which I didn't film, but I just, for the first time, re-leveled all of the bunks. And what I had was those three on the far end were still totally in line and level, but that one and the very first one, I guess, that sit under saw head, they had both sunk down. So I loosened the adjusting bolts and used, instead of the string method, I have a 60-inch level, and I put those across the bunks and was able to get it true. It took maybe 2 turns on those supports on that end, and like maybe a 1 turn or half turn on these, but everything's leveled up. I really wasn't getting bad cuts. I just thought it was time to check it, and went ahead and got it re-true. So we're going to go ahead and start logging, or start cutting this 26-inch maximum size log. See how it goes. I had that log on this mill one other time, and it was just too much for me to try and wrestle around and turn and everything. And the other thing that I had was when I had the log stops on the far side of the mill up, and then used the log dog to try and anchor it in, it wouldn't fit. Okay, so 26-inch log, you can see that if you put it on the stops, if you had that up high, I mean, it's outside the mill. So what I think I'm going to do is just raise those up a little bit and then cut the top off that thing, several cuts, then raise these up and spin it and see if I can kind of whittle away at it. So what I've kind of found out is, I know for a fact going into this that I like about an 18-inch diameter straight log the best, but we'll see how this goes. Alrighty, I've got the log on the mill. I've got one dog locked in on the very bottom, and I had to play around with these quite a bit so that the log stops, so that they would touch the log at the bottom, but there's not enough width to go up where I normally do. And then this one I was able to use a longer one, get up there a little bit. That's going to clear the blade and saw on this side, and the blade guide on that side down to about there. So if I shave off some of that, make a little flat spot on the top, I think then I can use the tractor to turn it. This log is way too heavy to turn with either my PV or the log, what is the other one called? Cant hook. So anyway, the cant hook can't. All right, anyway, I'm going to use the grapple on this machine to turn this, but I think I'm ready to do the first cut. Okay, and this machine hasn't run in about 2 weeks, so I'm going to check the oil. And the oil is good. And and this will totally be a cold start. So let's see, turn the fuel on, turn the choke on, and get ready to pull. First time I pulled it this high up, usually I've got to lower it. Well, shoot. If I can do it without getting my arm on that tractor. There we go. Give it just a little gash. Back to the choke. Ooh, I'm gonna hit my arm on that tractor. Alrighty, so I hit my first piece of metal. Let me show you what it did. First of all, the blade is pretty much toast, so I'll have to change it out. But what I think I'm going to do is try and dig this piece of metal out. You can see what happened. I tried to push through it, so probably about there's where it hit, and then it started going off tracking, and there was smoke rolling out of this thing. You'd think you needed to hit the box. So anyway, what I'm going to do is take a chainsaw and cut across there and peel this piece off and see if I can find this piece of metal and see how big it is. And then what I'll probably do is put one of my used blades on that I changed before it got really totally spent, and see if I can get a good clean cut, and then I'll put a fresh blade on and start moving through. Okay, so it's some kind of big spike that somebody has driven in there, and you can see the chainsaw hit it in that cut. I thought if it went straight in, I could maybe cut around it. Looks to me like it's down in there too. So what I think probably the best decision here is to cut this off. Let's see, another, it's hard telling how long that thing is. But I'll either cut all of this off and make shorter boards, which we can use, that's no big deal. That's probably what I'll do. And if I didn't do that, I'd like to dig it out to get more of these boards, but honestly, I think it's time to just cut them off. These are going to make these boards 6.5 or so. Well, let's see. It's just over 8. That's probably a good 14 inches I'm cutting off. So anyway, I guess you do the math. Oh well, first time I've hit a piece of steel. And that looks like it's over here too. So yeah, I'm just going to cut this off. Okay, so there's the first piece of steel that I've hit, and I just cut off the last about 14 inches of that log. So we didn't lose a lot. The piece of steel was like right in here, and it angled that way, but I don't see any proof of it in this end. So I don't think it angled into this part of the log. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. And what we've got, it's still cutting just over 7 foot. It's 7'2" The nice thing is, what we'll do is I'll cut them all this length, but we'll end up using them at 80 because all of our stuff is 16 on center, and so that's where that break would come out. Otherwise, you know, 8 foot is 96. And what I've been trying to do is when I have a 10-foot one, we use them at 112. So anyway, the nice thing is at 80 inches, that should let us get rid of some of those splits. And some of the splits that were on this end, although now it's a lot less because we cut 14 inches off. So keep on milling, you know, into every, what is it, every day a little bit of rain must fall or some crap. So anyway, I guess every sawmill must hit some steel from time to time. So carry on. Okay, so I got to change the blade, and what I figured out is the Xfinity race is getting ready to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this mill off, clean it up a little bit, and probably revisit this tomorrow. I started using this blower a few, I don't know, last couple times I did it. But I found that if you let this sawdust sit on here, it kind of discolors the rails and stuff. So I don't know that it would really do any damage, but I'm going to just clean it up. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We love your comments. Have a good one, y'all. All right, good morning. So after hitting the spike in the redwood yesterday, got a new blade on. This actually was the first time that I've changed a blade that I didn't have to play with the tracking at all. I put the blade on, tensioned it up, and spun it about a dozen times. And the blade is staying right where it's supposed to, so that was nice. Other than that, we'll continue milling up this now shortened red oak, and if I hit one more piece of metal in this thing, it's going in the firewood pile. So luckily, when I hit the spike last night, I had just decided I needed to change that blade anyway, so that blade was just about dull when it was almost destroyed with that spike. So So 2 cuts in on a new blade, hit another piece of metal. I'm not sure where exactly it was, but on that end. So I don't know if this metal detector is 100% accurate or not. Oh, I think that's picking up this. But I think I'll cut this off one more time and see if I can get any boards out of this. Hate to waste that much wood. Okay, so last night I hit that piece of steel right there in this big red oak. And so I cut off that piece of wood, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and use that rest of that because it was a really large piece of red oak. Well, today I hit that piece of steel on the second cut after putting a new blade in. And when I cut this chunk out, I found that piece of steel and I cut it with my chainsaw. Okay, and I said that if I hit any more steel, I was just going to put this thing on the firewood pile. This piece came out right there. So hit that with the sawmill. When I was cutting it out, I cut that with the chainsaw. So I don't know how much steel's in this thing, but I wanted to show you something. I've got this cheap Radio Shack metal detector. And I used this the other day to find some screws I dropped in the driveway after the gutter job. But it will pick up this steel. So what I did was I cut that section off. My piece of wood's getting shorter here, but we've got some short walls, so that's not a big problem. But I laid this over in the driveway, out of away from the tractor, away from the mill, and I ran this metal detector over all four sides of this log, and I didn't find any more nails. The problem with doing it up here is you can pick up your mill about as much as sticks or nails. So anyway, I think I've gotten high enough up on this tree that whatever fence or whatever was nailed in there, I hope I'm past it. But here's the other side of it, was that's a brand new blade. It's only got about 8 feet of cutting on it when I hit that last nail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to slice the rest of this thing up with that blade that's hit a nail. And if it cuts decent and I can use it, great. If it hits another nail, it's not really hurt. And other than that, we'll see what happens. One thing that I found out, I've hit 2 pieces of steel now while milling. You will instantly hear that blade hit. It's unmistakable that you've hit steel. The problem is, you know, when you hear that, that blade is rotating fast enough that I don't know that you could ever hear it quick enough to keep from raking all of your teeth across whatever piece of steel it is. And actually, so far, both pieces of steel I found I've cut through, but they look like they're maybe a 16-penny nail or something in size. So anyway, I'm going to keep cutting this up. Maggie wants the boards. She thinks she can use them. So we'll see what we do. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for watching our video. When you try to max out one of these mills, cutting an 18 to 20 inch log is exponentially easier than cutting this 24 inch log was. We were able to use all of this red oak, which is pretty good, but we weren't able to use it the way we exactly wanted to. And then cutting into steel, no matter what size log it's in, is a pain in the butt. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day. Be safe out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Have a good one, y'all.